Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Should Becky Lynch win at the Royal Rumble? And by that I mean both the title match she's in and the Women's Royal Rumble itself. I'm Ollie Davis. This is El Fakador Laurie. What? Why don't you just settle down and decide who you are?
Well, I'm here today.
Okay.
I'm not at home playing Castlevania.
And welcome to the SmackDown review edition of WrestleRamble. We're going to kick off with the news coming out of the Triple Threat main event, a cracking three-way between Carmella, Charlotte and Becky Lynch, which was to decide the #1 contender for Asuka's women's title at the Royal Rumble. And, as you can see here, I've written at the start of this match, prediction. Charlotte wins, Carmella is there to take the fall.
Hey man, 50% of the time you're right every time.
And I thought, I'm going to write that down there as proof. So when it exactly plays out that way, I can show Luke that's what happened and I'm a genius. But my confidence is shaken at the moment. Yeah. After Jay White beating Okada and now this.
Jay White beating Okada as well has put you at the bottom of the Wrestle League table.
I'm spiraling, man. I went home and I just drank. I've been on a bender since then of depression and self-doubt.
Oh, man. That's all right, dude. There's TakeOver Blackpool this weekend.
I don't know who's even signed for that. I just know I don't like it. I just know that Pete Dunne's now turned heel in real life. Anyway, we're going off track.
Like you never watched an episode.
We're going off track.
We are.
So this was a great three-way.
It was a great three-way to cap off a really great episode of SmackDown Live. I really enjoyed this week.
In quotes, right? This is my poster review of this week's SmackDown. Very watchable.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
so watchable.
Find me a more watchable episode of WWE from the last year. Flew by. They did that. Like that was a big change here. They upped the pace significantly. All those bits where they're usually like, hey, Todd Phillips, talk about all the things that are going to come up. They just cut all those bits, which I'm pretty sure is about 15 minutes of TV time, and just flew themselves into the next segment.
Man, I mean, I woke up on a bit of a high this morning anyway with the All Elite rally that was taking place just down the road from there, outside the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, because we're British. And
Jaguars,
exactly. Yeah, the Atari Jaguar. So I was just kind of like on a high because you woke up with all that exciting news that Jericho's there, which we kind of all expected, but Packers also signed, Joey Janela, all these names. And then you're listening to Wrestling Observer Radio and you've got Meltzer talking about there are other names that are going to be coming there. They're negotiating with these people. New Japan now might want to work with them because they don't want to lose Kenny Omega. You've got all of this stuff going on. So I was already kind of like, what a great time to be a wrestling fan. Really, really thrilled for All Elite. But that's probably a Saturday topic. And then I watched this episode of SmackDown Live and I'm like, oh, all right, WWE, what have you got to show us then?
Let's downgrade my expectations. Back in WWE mode.
You've already announced the Bar versus the Usos again. Come on, guys, just lay it on me. And this was a terrifically watchable, fun episode of SmackDown. Not a newsworthy episode by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, we got a big Royal Rumble match announced.
But that was already announced 2 weeks ago. And then they just changed their minds.
So was it Charlotte?
No, it was Becky and Asuka. They announced that like after TLC, and then they said no because it was Paige's fault.
This was they announced it on Main Event.
Yes,
because no one told the Main Event production team that they weren't going to announce it yet. But before that,
apparently they changed their minds. So on the Tuesday morning, it was decided that we're going to do Becky versus Asuka at the Rumble. Then before SmackDown aired, they changed their mind. But they'd already made the graphic and given it to the Main Event production team, but then didn't tell them that the match wasn't taking place. So Main Event announced it was happening, then they had to blame it on Paige because it was all her fault for having the audacity to try and make one more match before she stepped down as GM.
I think it's AJ Styles' fault. He's got to prove to the McMahons that he's the real AJ Styles.
The vicious AJ Styles.
Yeah, making incorrect match graphic submissions.
Exactly. So, yeah, so I would say that it wasn't a particularly newsworthy episode of the show, but I loved every match on this. There was only 4 matches, but I loved each of them. Yeah. And I had a fun time with it. Really, really watchable. The complete counter to Raw on Monday, which despite the fact I didn't have to watch because I wasn't coming in, I still watched.
Yeah.
Because I fooled myself. I'm blaming you for this, by the way. Your page in this example. I'm blaming you because you had convinced me last week, hey, it's going to be the first live episodes of the year. Those are going to be the ones with the big changes. And I was like, Ollie's right. 50% of the time, he's right 100% of the time. I definitely think he's going to be right here.
God,
and I watched it, and it was a bad show.
You're sending me spiraling again. I can't predict anything at the moment. I thought Jericho would hold off for his AEW announcement as well. I mean, to be fair to me, WWE kept saying it's a new era, and nothing's changed. But
these new faces, they're on their way.
Back to this triple threat match.
Yes.
It was Becky, Charlotte, and Carmella. Just down to this feels like a slightly tweaked, refreshed SmackDown. When they came out, they had tweets that each person had posted in advance of this match, kind of building the match. Carmella is like, hey, I didn't have this given to me. And Carmella is a great promo. And Charlotte had something similar. Becky Lynch's Twitter game is just the best in wrestling at the moment. And it really showed me how strong the women's division is, on SmackDown at least, because they've got more than just one star, and how good all of those women are. Like, that is Becky and Carmella writing their own tweets, largely, I think. They're talented. Like, they should have more input into their promo segments, and hopefully that's what's happening. But they also had these interview backstage pre-tape things run throughout the night. One from Carmella, then later from Charlotte, then later from Becky. And those, nothing special, but they were so solid.
Yeah, absolutely was, yeah.
And it made it feel like a big deal, that match.
Yeah, I said in the review that because they were like sit-down interviews, and it was just it was a really simple and effective way of kind of elevating the promos themselves, because it wasn't just with Kayla Braxton or whatever going like, you are in a match later on tonight. What do you think of that match? And then they then say some scripted verbiage garbage and then sort of stare off into the middle distance. It made it feel big time. It made it feel like a really big deal because they would take it, or the promos were so serious. Carmella, like, I'm not the biggest Carmella fan. I've enjoyed her more since her babyface turn where she essentially just dances, and that's grand. Like, I much prefer that than wrestler Carmella because she had an awful, awful run as champion last year. But I thought her promo was really, really great. I was like, people always overlook me. People are just expecting me to not win this match, but I'm going to go out there and prove you that I am more serious now. And I thought Becky's promo was awesome. I thought Charlotte's promo was really, really good as well. Did you see Becky's takedown of Charlotte's tweet?
Which one?
Well, the one where
it would be less vague.
The one which it wasn't her. So I think it's the actual tweet they showed in the video or in the episode where it's like, I was born into this, yada, yada, yada. But she also had that with a picture of herself.
Yes.
Posing in front of all of the title belts that she's won.
Okay.
With a background that was taken from the Dark Knight poster by the looks of it. But Becky said, like, it's not you in the image. Someone had taken a picture of Britney Spears and put Charlotte's face over it.
Oh.
It's mad. It's really weird.
But are you talking about because there was a Britney Spears one that Charlotte had a pose? I haven't seen a Dark Knight one.
Well, it's probably the same one. It's the same Britney Spears image, but they just put Charlotte's face over Britney's face.
Okay. Well, whatever. I also quite liked that this was a women's main event of TV. That I didn't. I only realised that afterwards. Like back 6 months ago, the women are main eventing a show.
Yeah. Well,
now this feels normal and natural for the women to main event a show.
Yeah, I think like they had that time of being like, hey, look how progressive we're being. We're doing this. Push it down. PR. Now it's just sort of a given that they just like women main event shows all the time now, and they don't just hammer it home. It's quite nice.
This is the best program on the show at the moment. So yeah, it's there. Yeah, it is. Yes,
it is.
Yeah, we have seen that one. We're talking about the same one.
Talking about the same one.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Why would you post that? Like, I don't know if Charlotte's Googled.
Maybe it's a bit of fan art.
That's what I think it is. I think Charlotte's Googled that image, found it, and be like, that's great.
That was in Laurie's News on Monday, if you want to go and check it out. But the match itself, it was Becky running wild early on, as she should do, and then and a lot of the spots were based around Charlotte and Becky just hating each other.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad they're sticking with that, because there was a danger after Survivor Series where they reconciled, but it wasn't. It was just Becky saying, you go at Ronda, but they still hate each other. And Becky's really committed and consistent as a character.
I think, yes, to a degree. I would have taken out the hug, but yes.
Yeah, the hug.
Yeah.
can take or leave the hug.
Well, exactly. You know, you just forget about that one bit of the promo, and you just, you know, rewrite history.
That's a lot less than WWE usually forgets about character consistency.
Yeah.
And this Charlotte was really, really good in this match as well from a wrestling perspective, I thought. She did a double moon, not a double moonsault like she flipped twice.
She didn't do a ricochet.
No, but Becky and Carmella are on the ground, and she moonsaulted onto both of them.
Yep.
She missed a moonsault off the top rope to the outside.
Yeah, Mella did quite a nice little dive.
Yeah, I worry about Charlotte's knees. It's the warrior in me, you know?
Yeah.
I see her do those spots, and they're impressive, but it's just a throwaway thing.
Yeah.
Missing a double... not a double. Missing a moonsault to the outside.
Yeah.
That's a big spot.
It's hard on the old kneecaps and you know the knee muscles themselves. And they also did the natural selection from the top rope, shades of SummerSlam, because this was a SummerSlam rematch, and it was really interesting that this was a SummerSlam rematch, but it didn't feel like a rematch of sorts, because the characters from that point there are in completely different places as to where they were just 6 months ago.
Yeah, talking about character consistency. What are you, Carmella? what motivates
don't
you?
Get me started on that Carmella character. Was she good at wrestling? Was she bad at wrestling? They could never make their mind up.
But this was fast paced as well. The in-ring action, as well as the whole show, the way it was presented, the actual in-ring product was very quick too, and the finish was just so frantic. There were loads of near falls, like people breaking up each other's pins.
Yeah.
And there was a great bit where, like, I can't remember what she said exactly, but Charlotte pushed Carmella off Becky and just went, "No!"
Yeah, it's just like,
She
"No, you
screamed
don't."
it. Yeah.
Oh, no, you don't.
I really like that. But the finish was Becky breaking up a Charlotte figure eight with a leg drop, and then Charlotte gets her in the disarmer, but Carmella breaks that up, and then Becky...
You said Charlotte gets her in the disarmer?
Gets Charlotte in the disarmer.
Aha.
And then Carmella breaks it up, and Becky somehow makes Carmella tap in the disarmer.
Yeah, I think Charlotte had hit a spear on Becky,
yeah.
and then Carmella had kicked Charlotte down, and then Becky got Mella in the disarmer and tapped her out for the win.
No selling the spear.
Oh, I know.
Oof.
And then, brilliantly, Asuka then comes out, and these two just had this stare-off. But it wasn't just a stare-off, because they were mouthing off at each other. Just sort of, we couldn't hear what they were saying, but they were just mouthing off, and it looked really, really cool. Like the images, I mean, it's the image that we've got in the thumbnail as well. Just makes it look so awesome, and it really made me excited for that match at the Rumble.
I think they were saying, what's left in catering? Have they got any of the prawn sandwiches? I like the prawn sandwiches.
What was it that she was eating when she kept Charlotte kept getting attacked?
Couscous.
Couscous, that was it. I was going to say quinoa.
Well, it might have been quinoa, actually.
Yeah.
Are there any high-protein grains backstage still in catering, Asuka?
Yeah.
And Asuka's like, yeah, actually, there's loads, but just with an angry face.
Yeah, if you really want some, I would go back there now, because Big E is there.
Yeah. You saying right now? Yeah, I want to do this right now. You should get back there. Big E's going to eat it all.
Are you telling me that Xavier Woods has eaten all of the crisps? I am going to go mad if he has.
They haven't even eaten it. They're just having a food fight.
Oh, this is the worst.
And yeah, so Becky is going to face Asuka for the women's title at the Royal Rumble. And what I think should happen... I don't hate it if they don't do this. This is a ridiculous idea. But I think it would be amazing, is for Becky to beat Asuka for the title. That would be a shame, because Asuka would only have really had one pay-per-view cycle to hold the title. And then Becky also comes out very late in the Women's Royal Rumble and wins that too, and challenges Ronda Rousey in a title versus title match at WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of us were all assuming that Becky was going to be in the Rumble. Like when they announced that she was facing Asuka a couple of weeks ago, like after TLC, I think we all were like, huh, I thought Becky would be in the Rumble. I thought the whole point of taking the belt off her was to put her in the Rumble, you know, and tell that story. And so, like you, I don't think I was expecting Becky to win here, because I'd figured that she would be in the Rumble. So it's, well, like you did.
Charlotte wins, Carmella takes the fall.
So it's sort of, yeah, maybe they could do that. I mean, it's not like a title challenger hasn't also been in the Royal Rumble. Let us not forget the Roman Reigns number 30 entry a few years ago. One of the biggest thunderous boos I've ever heard.
You're not allowed to hate. You're not allowed to hate on Roman Reigns.
You're
anymore.
not now.
No.
Oh, okay.
But or maybe the way they do it, Becky wins, beats Asuka. Ronda's champion. Charlotte wins the Rumble. It's reported that the three-way at Mania is the route they want to go. It'd be a bit clunky with all the titles involved, though.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, I'm fully expecting Asuka to retain at the Rumble, and then maybe that's when Becky enters herself in. Maybe she beats up Carmella to steal the number 30 spot, because Carmella is the number 30 entrant.
Yeah,
in the Royal Rumble.
they mentioned that on here. I was like, God damn it! Why is Mixed Match Challenge still making me angry? I guess the one way round this, because you don't want Becky to lose clean to Asuka. You don't even really want a disputed finish if Ronda somehow interferes and costs Becky something. Or some four horsewomen action.
That's it, because you want to keep the plate spinning of Becky versus Ronda. Because Ronda sort of did that on Monday, where she mentioned Flair and Lynch in her promo, talking about, hey, the women I would love to face. But it's not them, because I don't really care about them. It's Sasha Banks.
Boo! Yeah.
So it'd be good to keep that plate spinning, but on the same token, I would like to see Asuka retain cleanly. I think it's quite important for her to get a good clean victory.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because she didn't win the title clean. So then to have your first defense not clean either doesn't bode well for the rest of your run.
Well, it was a cracking rest of the episode. Let's get on with it.
It's a SmackDown review, Maggle. I love it. We got us a flying Uso.
Very similar to how Raw opened with the Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley cold open brawl backstage. They did a little bit of, hey, welcome to SmackDown, I'm Todd Phillips, we've got a big triple threat for you later. But then it cut backstage to sort of the area behind the seats where you have all the food area.
Concessions.
Yeah, concessions. And it's Daniel Bryan there with the WWE title round his waist. And fans kind of, what I would say like a 5-meter perimeter around him. Like you used to get at SmackDown Just Bring It, when you went backstage and there were still fans.
Yeah, the cardboard fans would part.
Yeah, and they would part and you would walk through them, but there would always be a certain distance away. Which makes me think, Luke, that the fans that Bryan eventually went up to were plants.
You think?
Because they were in the perimeter.
I don't know, man. They did seem like genuine fans wearing the merchandise they really needed them to wear at that one point, eating and drinking the things that Bryan wanted to cut promos on. Yeah.
They didn't have Roman Reigns t-shirts on, which would really give away that they were plants. Yeah.
And I don't think as well, I mean, I can't say this for certain, I don't think that was the real merchandise stall either.
Yeah, it was just one table
with a guy. With one guy. This is not a Rev Pro show. This is not like your local indie fed.
Hey, don't throw shade at Rev Pro.
Yeah, but
there is just one table.
There's one table with all the wrestlers selling their own gimmicks. I've been to a WWE show. There are multiple people running those stages with massive queues trying to sell you merchandise, usually for guys that aren't on the card.
We are being facetious, though, because this was an absolutely incredible promo. I've decided, especially with the one later on that Bryan cuts, which I think is even better than this opening one. He's the best promo. I was going to say WWE easily, but now I'm thinking the whole business.
Oh, big claim.
He was so good. He was so in his character. I so bought into everything he was saying, and there was he's getting me to boo stuff I believe in. He's talking about climate change, saving the planet, and I'm like, no, boo you.
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do. I want to be free. But, Bryan, he's got a real 80s vibe about him. Just those really intense, shouty promos. Yeah,
but I think to your point, the reason why Bryan's promos work so well is because he genuinely believes what he's saying. These are promos that don't feel like they're written by someone else. They feel like they've been written by Bryan. And he has then sort of channeled his own feelings, taken things that he genuinely believes in, but be like, what is the most pompous way and what's the most annoying way for me to get this across? And it really works. And it was a great promo, sort of cutting promos on like the hot dogs that this guy was eating, having a pop at a lad for drinking a fizzy drink, high glucose corn syrup, out of a plastic cup with a plastic straw.
Single use.
Oh, because no one listened to David Attenborough. I thought it was a brilliant promo.
And the fans gave him genuine heel heat, because as he's walking through the concessions, he then goes through the doors, which takes you into the arena. You walk down the steps, there's fans either side, and he just steps at one sort of heavy-set fan and just calls him impotent. What do you go? Impotent. Change it. he's a reverse self-help guru. No, not a reverse self-help guru. Just like a very nasty self-help guru.
Totally.
and he got real, genuine heat from everyone. And that is just unthinkable compared to what Daniel Bryan has been when he's in his babyface run.
It's kind of incredible, really, because he's really tapped into this sort of like fan mindset. It's kind of like back in the day when people wanted, like, you were feuding with Austin. So how do you get people to boo you? It's like, well, you will drink beer like Austin, and he's a loser, and you're all losers for drinking beer as well. All these fans with their beers go, oh, no, I am drinking beer. This is brilliant. Oh, beer's great. And like there is this sort of like hive mindset at the moment that veganism is awful. And the reason why this country is falling apart and this world is falling apart is because Greggs have got a vegan sausage roll now, and that's the worst thing possible. And you kind of just like, you target those people and be like, you're bad because you eat meat. And he's like, but I'm not. That's made me angry. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant character. It's genius.
And as Bryan climbs over the barricade, he's still cutting the promo. Out of nowhere, great camera work, really kicked off this chaotic pace to SmackDown. R-Truth flies in from the top right of the camera, so he's jumped off the steel steps, and hits him with a forearm. Boom, we've got a match.
Yeah, and apparently this built off from an angle that was from the Christmas episodes.
Which we definitely watched.
Oh, almost certainly, we definitely watched.
Yeah. So this turns, like, quick commercial break, come back, and they're wrestling in the ring. And Bryan, as he should do, beats Truth in like a minute.
I loved this.
Yeah.
I loved this.
Just solid.
Solid. Absolutely solid. He won clean with his finish, looked dominant throughout, and looked like a champion. And it puts over that he's got a great finish, that he is dominant, and that he wins. He looks like and feels like a champion. Then he walks up to the ramp, gets attacked by AJ Styles, so AJ also looks strong because he sent the guy that just won a match packing. And now you're like, cool. So he's cool. He wins. I can't wait to see them fight. It's simple stuff, but it's really good.
And just from a pace perspective, you're like, what? You just had this really quick match. You're walking up here. AJ attacked you. And then, before you can catch your breath, as the officials are pulling Styles and Bryan away, and Bryan kind of walks off to the side of the entrance ramp, Rey Mysterio's music hits.
Yeah.
Boom. 619. And they do the... This was where I was like, this is a new era. They did the shrink screen ad break where you can't hear what's going on in SmackDown, but it's in a corner in the side of the screen, and the rest of the screen is taken up by the adverts. And they did the entrances in the adverts, not the match.
What a novel concept. What a novel concept.
We have been saying this forever. I genuinely... There were a few things that happened on this show where I genuinely thought, someone's watching us.
Oh, if that's the case, then can we put in our Twitter bios that we work for WWE?
Yeah, that's
or
that's
we're
how
WWE
that goes.
insiders.
I've never had that before, because I always think, look, there are loads of ideas out there. We're not the only people who say these things.
No.
But there were just so many bits, so many minor bits as well that annoy us.
Yeah.
That were changed on this show. I was like, Ryan Ward likes us. Road Dogg is a big fan. He's part of the Swaff Nation.
But this was a... Oh, I don't know. I was about to say it was my favourite match of the night, but that triple threat was so good.
This was my favourite match.
I think it was. I bloody loved this.
Yes.
This was such a fun 10-man... Because Rey Mysterio comes out, and I was like, okay, so I've written Rey Mysterio's name down. I'm like, is it a promo? Is it a singles match? I don't know. And then they
Probably
said...
Randy Orton.
I was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And Jeff Hardy, that's sort of who I was expecting. And then they put up a graphic that said what's the match that's coming up after the break. And it was Rey Mysterio and Mustafa Ali versus Samoa Joe and Andrade Cien Almas. And I'm like... I'm so ready. I am so in for this tag team match, and golly gosh, did it deliver.
And although these four have been in combinations over the last few weeks, this felt like a completely fresh matchup to me. And I like, when they all got in the ring, I felt like this was, in an alternate universe, that is a match at All In.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
at the first September... the September 1st event. Because it was just like, it's kind of like a dream exhibition match, and that's what this was. And they had a cracking bout with no let-up, and you didn't really have the ad break. There was an ad break, but it wasn't... It was built well around the action.
It was in the shorter ad break, I believe.
And the crowd were really into it as well.
why wouldn't you be? Like this, like you got to be sort of hot for this because they started at 10 and then went to 11 for the finish. I loved it, absolutely loved it.
So Ali is just so smooth in the ring. I love watching him wrestle. I love the forward roll through the ropes into the facebuster, and he does a crossbody to Joe on the outside. Joe catches him and does a fall-away slam behind him, launching Ali onto the announcer's table.
So cool. It made Joe look awesome. And that's what I loved about this match. Not only was it fun, everyone looked great coming out of it. Because Ray ran wild at the end, throwing loads of 619s. He did the Canadian Destroyer spot on Andrade Cien Almas, a spot that I could watch on loop for a good hour because it was so impressive. Was Pentagon's better.
Which?
Pentagon one from Homecoming on Sunday.
Yeah, that was definitely better.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I was just throwing it out there.
But that's like he did a jump off. Was it Phoenix who did it?
No, it was Pentagon that did the
he jumped off someone's back to break up the pin.
Off a pin,
yeah, that's incredible,
amazing. But yeah, so he did this. Ali was doing his dives and whatnot. Joe looked really strong, and then at the end of it, Andrade Cien Almas was the one who got the pin, breaking up the 619, locking in the hammerlock, winning clean with his finish. It's his first win on TV since August last year, where he beat Aiden English.
Well, he's proven himself. He really proved himself in those matches against AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, star-making performances.
Absolutely.
I loved this match. The pace was so quick.
Yeah.
I've written here. Well, I wrote this in my notes for the main event three-way. Not a rest hold on the entire show, in my memory.
Might have been in the ad break.
That's a good point. But not on televised, which is usually half of TV wrestling action is rest holds in WWE.
Mate, that is a Baron Corbin match template.
Yeah.
You know how they say, like, Ric Flair wrestles the same match all the time? Baron Corbin, 80% rest holds.
And the other thing, there was no Jeff Hardy. There was no Randy Orton.
Yeah. It was lovely.
I didn't notice that, and now I have realised that. It does feel nice
it's lovely,
that they weren't there. I think Rey Mysterio, like just using one of those guys a week is great.
Yeah.
Because Rey was great here,
Yeah.
and I love Rey. But yeah, a brilliant match.
And it seems like they've dropped that Randy-Ray feud.
It'll always come back. Randy will just come up with a chair one day out of nowhere. But yeah, a fantastic match. Go out of your way to watch it. When do we say that about TV WWE matches?
Yep.
And then we got the Carmella sit-down promo, which we've already talked about. There was continuing with this crazy fast pace of presentation, we got the Usos doing their walking through the backstage area. We've got a match with the Bar. Boom. Then straight into Miz going to Shane McMahon saying, well, why have the Usos got a match against the Bar? We should have a match.
Yeah.
Because you can book anything, right? We want to go for the tag titles.
You know, last week we kind of made fun at SmackDown because they had that point where there was like 12 promos in a row or wherever it was, and it felt like, good crikey, I could do without another promo here. This was, again, you had like a Carmella promo, the Usos, Miz and Shane, and then Rusev came out to cut a promo as well. But it never felt like, good Lord, I'm sick of people talking. I just want to see some wrestling. Because I'd had a massive load of fun wrestling, and I had the awesome Daniel Bryan stuff at the start. And then it was a quick promo, quick backstage segment, quick promo, and then back into some action again. Oh, that was great.
That might be because of the variety as well.
Exactly.
Because the Carmella one is a pre-taped sit-down promo. The Usos bit was filmed completely differently. Miz and Shane McMahon was a backstage skit. Rusev was in ring.
Yeah.
So it really nicely changes things up.
Really good.
I wrote here that the dynamic of the skit was Miz wanting the title match and Shane going, hey, look, we need to work on our tag team act before we can go for the titles. Which is nice because I was like, oh, they're going to be friends. We want to love these two together before they inevitably break up. But then he just walked away.
Yes.
So it wasn't as good. But by the end of the show, I quite liked what they're doing.
I mean, in all fairness to WWE, they have got a 50% win-loss record, which, you know, that's how you get title shots in WWE, really.
Or pin the champions in a non-title match. Then we got that Rusev promo, which was in the ring. I've got to say, it wasn't bad, but for a show that was so good everywhere else, I felt like this was the weakest part of the episode.
it was the part of the show I probably spent the least amount of time on in the review. Because it was Rusev came out, called out Nakamura. Nakamura was in the production truck, said it wasn't his fault. At least it made sense that he was able to show a video package. He was in the production truck and told an editor to play it. Great.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And it's heelish in that Nakamura has obviously chosen the select clip to play psychological mind games with Rusev, which was Shinsuke falling backwards because of a Rusev kick onto trained wrestler Lana in kayfabe. Trained wrestler Lana takes a back bump, and that's why she's off TV this week.
Written her off TV, man.
It's whatever. You know, sometimes you just gotta just take it for what it is.
I didn't make this joke in the Homecoming review for Impact, but there was a spot when Tessa Blanchard hit Gail Kim, but because she was in a referee's outfit, she went down like a sack of bricks. And she was like, had to recover from it because she took an errant forearm to the face.
Tough as nails.
It's the stripes, man.
It's crazy.
It's why Chris Roberts isn't champion.
Yeah. That's the only thing stopping
the only reason
Chris
he's not
Roberts.
British heavyweight champion.
Chris Roberts is getting so much love on this show since the Wrestle Kingdom debut. Was it debut?
It was debut, yeah.
But they had a Rev Pro title match a few years ago.
Yeah, but I think it was his debut at the Tokyo Dome.
So Nakamura beat up Rusev afterwards when he sort of lured Rusev to come after him backstage, attacked him with a big box on wheels.
Yeah.
Not the most conspicuous of ambushes.
Yeah.
Oh no! And
It's coming towards us very slowly.
But Rusev did have a fantastic line here. He even though he was sad, Rusev, he lays the United States title down in front of him. He's sad, he's upset because his wife is at home injured, and that might be down to his actions. So I'm not out here as your United States champion. I'm not out. I'm not someone. As someone with the body of 1,000 Hemsworth brothers. You just slip that in there.
Even when he's somber, still got to make a joke.
He's still handsome.
Yeah, he is still handsome.
Whatever expression he's got on his face, it's always a handsome expression.
He might have my favourite haircut in WWE.
If you were to take anyone's hair, it would be that.
Oh man, absolutely, exactly. Yeah, if I was to take anyone's hair and beard combination, because I can't grow a full one, it would be Rusev's hair and beard combination.
I'm just holding out for Tanahashi's.
But yeah,
I know that's in the larger world of wrestling.
I was going to say, WWE though, whose hair would you take?
Baron Corbin's.
I've already got that one, mate.
Becky Lynch had her pre-taped interview after that, and then we got The Bar versus the Usos, which is nothing new. We've seen this a billion times before, but I was just having so much fun that I didn't mind it.
Well, that was it. Like, when they announced before the show that it was going to be The Bar versus the Usos, and I thought, oh, good Lord, like, I've seen this match 1,000 times last week, you know what I mean? And then they announced on the show, and the stipulations are, if the Usos pin The Bar, they could get a championship shot down the line. I'm like, okay, so it's not even for the Royal Rumble, it's just at some point. Ask Naomi how those like work out. So it kind of like wore me down. I was like, good Lord. But I could watch these two have a wrestling match every single week because they're so good that you're like, yeah, they would probably pull out new spots that I haven't seen them do before. And they're so great at what they do. They know each other so well. I loved it. I had such a fun time with it.
I feel like this match was a lot more chaotic than normal. Like Cesaro spilled over the barricade almost into someone's lap at one point, which is quite rare in the sanitized WWE product.
Exactly. Todd Phillips gets told to move out the way before they do those sorts of spots.
Yeah. That they had it was just that the crowd were really into the Usos, and there were angles. I feel like this match was more based on angles than it being an actual match. So it kind of gets a pass for being a repetitive combination because near the end, which one is it? Jay is going to make the hot tag, but Mandy Rose's entrance music hits. She comes out in the largest bathrobe. It's not that I want her in a skimpier towel.
No.
It's that I want towels that large in my own house, and this is envy.
They do look very comfy towels.
I've researched it since we talked about it last. They are called bathrobes. They are like
a bathrobe suggests to me that's what you were wearing at my stag do and you wouldn't get out of, which is like it has sleeves.
That's a dressing gown.
Yeah, but it was more like bathrobes.
Yes,
yeah, it was more like towel material.
Maybe it's a bath sheet. Let me Google this. We're 35 minutes. Okay, they call bath sheets.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
You were wearing
my
a
bad.
bathrobe.
Yeah,
at
I had a
the
robe
stag do.
at the stag do.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at these comfy, dry people. They're enormous. We could get a pair.
We could do Kingsley Duo Jumbo towels. Those are some long towels.
Those are too big.
I don't think Mandy's was that long.
No, these are jumbo size.
Yeah, they're only £7.
They're probably sandpaper.
You're okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy one of those for £7. The ones I was looking at were in the realm of £30 a sheet.
Yeah, those ones look like they'd be advertised on Comedy Central before the show starts.
Yeah. So yes, that's Mandy came out in this giant towel, and she had the little slippers on as well.
Yeah. So essentially, like, I think we're focusing on the wrong thing here. What she said was,
it depends.
Hey,
Corey
Jimmy,
Graves would like to focus more on Mandy Rose.
Hey, Jimmy, did I leave my gold shorts in your hotel room? And Jimmy was like, huh? But because he was so too busy going, huh, he missed the hot tag, and Cesaro hit the Gotch neutralizer, and the bar won. So the Usos don't get their tag title shot at some point down the line.
Yeah. And as soon as that's over, and the Usos are kind of rolling out the ring, and Jimmy's like, she looked pretty good, though.
Yeah, bath... Can I get that bath towel?
Can I get the bath towel?
It looks so comfy.
The Miz's music hits, and the Miz comes down, and he says to Sheamus and Cesaro that he wants a tag title shot at the Royal Rumble, him and Shane, and Cesaro's like, well, let me discuss it with my partner here. And Sheamus just brogue kicks him and says, yeah, you're on.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? That's an easy win.
It is
in their heads,
yeah.
in kayfabe.
And credit to WWE, it is one of the few matches at the Royal Rumble that is a fresh matchup we've not seen before. Hey, they promised we were going to get matchups we've not seen before, and they've actually delivered this time.
I think, and I'm actually quite excited to see this. The talent in the ring, like just Cesaro, really. But then, like, Miz is a very good promo. Sheamus is great at what he does. Shane McMahon's a madman. I'm quite excited to see that. I thought
I would hear the day where Ollie Davis is sitting and going, I can't wait for a Shane McMahon match.
Yeah, since when he came back at 2016. That was the last time I was excited.
This is because there's 3 other people in the ring.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what helps.
I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for a Shane McMahon match. I'm shocked.
I would say it's the one storyline, well, maybe of 2, because I'm not interested in the Naomi one either. But it's a storyline I'm not feeling on SmackDown at the moment. No. It's not ringing my bells. It's not really doing much for me. It might just be because I'm not the biggest Shane guy, but it's not really doing a great deal for me.
I feel like it's got potential. Like, I'm not into it either, but I just, there's something about that match. I think they could have a fun bout.
Yeah. A good buffer match between the 2 Rumbles.
Oh, it'd be a perfect buffer match.
Yeah.
So just before we move on to the post-match angle after that bit, oh, did I say Cesaro accepted?
Yes, when Sheamus booked it. Then Sheamus, hilariously, went to leave. And Cesaro had to call him back saying, like, no, we have to pose with the belts.
Yeah.
See Sheamus posing with this big goofy smile on his face going like, oh, yep, no, I know what I'm doing. The bar, I know what I'm doing.
Before the match got started, there was a Mean Gene recap, which was a terrific video package.
Such a great video package.
A bit of Hogan in there for good measure.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey Graves had this line.
I thought you might bring this up.
Every tag team that competes on Tuesday nights is world class. Elite.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a smart guy. He's made a lot of Young Bucks references in the past.
Yep.
Like this, that could be too sweet, and various bits like that.
Super Kick Party.
I never thought, because of course the All Elite Wrestling rally was happening across the road from SmackDown just before this went on air. I never thought of Corey Graves as a potential defection.
Oh!
I'm not saying that he's probably just having fun.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, if you had Jim Ross, which seems to be, like, it'd be the play-by-play guy, a Jim Ross-Corey Graves partnership.
A Corey Graves that's unleashed, essentially, because he doesn't have people telling him what to say.
That's, I never knew I wanted that until I started just fantasy booking bits here.
Mm. No, it's a good shout.
Yeah,
it's a good shout. I was going to give a shout out to Sheamus that when he was doing his posing around the ring, he made sure to step on the Miz and walk over him, which I thought was great.
So it cuts backstage after that Miz angle, and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are walking along, and Mandy takes off her bathrobe or sheet to reveal that she's got all the gold.
She had it on all the time. Oh, what a pesky heel! She bloody loves gold.
Yeah. And Naomi attacks them from out of nowhere, and Jimmy breaks things up.
Yeah.
But it was just so fast-paced. Everything was happening one after the other.
Segment. Yeah. That was all one segment. The tag match the Miz stuff and this was all one segment.
Yeah, that's like three
storylines, yeah.
Entwining as well.
Yeah.
You've got the tag division entwining with this secondary women's division feud. Really, really well-structured show. Then we got the Charlotte sit-down interview, and then we got what might be my favourite thing on the entire episode.
Bryan's promo.
Bryan's second promo. He's leaving the arena. He's got mustard stains on his shirt from where he slapped a hot dog out of a fan's hands earlier. And Kayla Braxton gets him and says, you know, you're leaving something about AJ Styles. I switched off when she spoke. But when Bryan spoke, he cut a promo with such ferocity and intensity that I just thought it was... It's whatever the opposite of Braun Strowman's promo was. The extreme other end.
Yeah.
So the best something can possibly be. That was what Bryan cut.
And it was a promo that made complete sense. Because Bryan at the start of the night was, you know, he was angry at AJ Styles. And AJ's, you know, the audacity that man has to try and take this championship away from him when he's trying to change the world. So he was angry there, and then now he's even more angry because AJ hit him and made him run away, and he's got mustard on his shirt. He had had a very bad night. And Kayla said to him, like, you've had a bad night. And he was like, what? And just launched into this promo. And it was venomous against AJ, saying, like, you think AJ is vicious? No, the new Daniel Bryan is vicious, and I'm the WWE champion. I thought it was a tremendous, tremendous promo.
Yeah.
It's great stuff.
And it's just like, when I say that Bryan's promo work at the moment reminds me of stuff in the 80s, I think I just mean he makes me want to see a blood feud match.
Yes, yeah.
And just, like, his promos, I come away from them thinking, I want to see whoever he's facing. I don't come away thinking, well, I do come away thinking, wow, what a good promo. But the main thing is what promos should be. That's the reason they're called promos. They're promotional bits to get over the pay-per-view that people buy money or to see on TV or tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
They're promos. So I did just brilliant stuff from Bryan. And at the end of it, I just thought... He does seem vicious. This seems like an unhinged...
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared of him. He's
no,
kind of
agree.
psychotic.
Yeah, it was cool. Really, really good stuff.
NXT people still on their way to WWE.
I'm sick and tired of seeing this video package, man. Sick and tired. And I had this yesterday as well because I watched Raw and maybe I glazed over watching Raw. It's funny to watch Raw without taking notes. It's so easy to get distracted. It's incredible how easy it is, actually. I barely saw the third hour.
I get distracted when making notes.
Yeah. But I thought to myself, I was like, God, they didn't mention the women's tag team titles whatsoever on that show. And apparently, I don't think they did here either on this show. And so I was like, you know, A, have they been forgotten about? Or B, is it just something they're not doing yet? And I had a few people say on Twitter saying, like, hey, they don't have to do them right now. They can just do them whenever. My argument to that was like, well, then why mention it? Why bring it up in the first place? Get people talking about it and then not do anything with it. And it's the same with these NXT guys. If you had no plan to debut them, then why air the video package to say they're on their way? Because and it'll do is air it for, this is like 6 weeks now, 7 weeks.
Longer for Lars.
With
Lurking
nothing
hard.
to back it up. So it's just filler. And it's got to the point now where I'm now no longer fussed about them debuting on the main roster.
They've already made them boring. They've already flattened them out to a mid-card level by doing this. Because, and to Pritchard, your point, it's because it was the new era. Vince and the McMahons decided to say this new era, but just with words and no action. So you get these announcements. The women's tag title announcement was so flippant. Just like a line in a pre-taped video package of Vince dressed as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like that's just... And nothing's really been said afterwards about... I don't think it's been brought up at all.
Iconic said last week they were going to be the first women's champions, but that's about it.
But like, why do all of those things like this? Because I think as wrestling fans, we like it when big shocking angles happen, stuff we don't expect. That's not to say you can't not foreshadow people, because sometimes doing video packages before people debut is a good way to get them over. Look at the Wyatt family. But this is laughable now. And what's your least favourite one? Because I feel like I've watched them so many times. I hate the EC3 one. I hate it. I started off being like, it gets over his character. Now I
actively hate it. I'm really starting to hate that one. I don't like the Lacey Evans one either, because That Lacey Evans one says nothing about her. At least the EC3 one says something about him. And the Heavy Machinery one features them eating steaks and lifting weights. The Lacey Evans one says nothing. It may as well just say, Lacey Evans, she is a wrestler.
Loses on main event.
Yeah, oh God, what a brilliant way to debut them.
You know when you listen to an album that you love, and you always listen to it in sequence, of course. That's how they would devise Spotify. Don't playlist it up. And at the end of one track, as that starts to fade out, you'll start playing in your head the start of the next track, right? Mm-hmm. That is now because it's in the same order every time. The start of EC3's music.
Yeah.
I hate it.
So there's people who say like, oh well, you know, they'll wait until after the Rumble, they'll wait till before Mania, they'll do it after Mania, and then again, why bother announcing it? Why announce all 6 of them at once? Why not spread those announcements out? If you had no plan to debut them anytime soon, you could have just said like, here, okay, so EC3 is coming. Then the next week you say Heavy Machinery are coming. The next week, Lacey Evans is coming. And you sort of like, you drip feed this information to get people to be like, oh wow, I can't wait to see who they're going to announce next week. Rather than, here are 6 names and we're just going to keep telling you they're on their way to WWE.
It's also, I mean, it's bad on so many levels, because if they all do debut in the Royal Rumble match, they're going to get lost in the shuffle.
So that's a proper Alan Partridge shrug moment.
And they're all going to lose. None of them are winning. No. So, yeah, your big debut will be eventually being thrown over the top rope. So we managed to do it. We managed to find something to criticize heavily in this great episode of SmackDown.
But that's technically something that we could criticize that was on Raw as well.
Yeah.
So it's a larger picture problem.
Because we've already talked about the triple threat, we'll close on the sort of the final bit of the Miz Shane stuff, which was backstage. Shane says to Miz, well, that's not what I said. I didn't say go out there and get the title shot. I said let's work on ourselves. And Miz is like, oh, but I believe in us. I believe in us as an act. You know, daddy issues, stuff like that. And Shane's like, you know what? Okay, let's do this. So before I was like, I wish they were just doing montage training videos, kind of in that Hulk Hogan, Mean Gene Okerlund vein that's been brought up so brilliantly this week. Now I think they might do it.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to get everyone invested in them as an act. Miz is so funny. He could, like those Total Bella skits he did before the Cena-Nikki match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Something in that vein.
He's got 2 weeks. Well, rather, I say they have got 2 weeks. They've got 2 weeks to kind of like build something into this match. I mean, at the moment, really just says that Shane's not in the Rumble. Or
that's positive.
Although he might be, though.
Still might be.
Yeah, he still might be.
He might win. I could see them getting the tag belts.
Oh, I thought you meant the Rumble.
No.
He could win. I mean, in all fairness, he could also win the Rumble.
Yeah, he's the best in the world.
On the Rumble, something else I just want to briefly criticize WWE. I hate that graphic they've got for the people who are in the Rumble, where it's just it's in a square, but it keeps flashing and changing. I can't work out who's in it. They don't leave people on screen because it's not the same faces. They add new faces in, but move other people to different places. So at the end of it, I'm like, I don't really know who's in that Rumble, aside from the entire women's division.
Not everyone's been announced. They think they're just random faces. Like the old Royal Rumble one 2 years ago, they had just loads of names. And people were like, Zack Sabre Jr.'s name's in there.
Yeah, and I think Tyson Kidd's name was there or something.
And it was just because they just put everyone on the roster.
With the women,
graphic.
though, I would imagine all of them are in the Rumble.
Yeah, because they haven't got as many.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we've got time for. I would say this was a solid 4 out of 5.
Yep, a high smacktastic.
Yeah,
it's smack bang in the middle there, which is not what I want to give it. High smacktastic. I think you and I were discussing when I came into the office. It was just missing that killer angle. It was just missing that real newsworthy killer angle to kind of push it into that SmackDown territory.
Yeah, but it's very close.
Yeah.
What a terrific show. That's all we've got time for. Please click the videos that have just appeared on our desk to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk awesome things, and this button, which will subscribe you to the podcast version of this show, which Luke and I are about to do exclusive. What did I say exclusive already?
I don't think so.
I think I was thinking it.
Yeah.
And I didn't say it out loud.
It's the conversation we were having before we came on
Intros
air.
and outros, you can only hear them by listening to the podcast, but it's totally free. I've been Ollie Davis, this has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.